Alright, welcome back to ESA Summer Online. I'm Paul Lister, and I will be your donation reader for these next two runs. We're raising money for Alzheimerfonden, and links to donate can be found below the stream. We would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Well now, it is time for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword by Kitcot. And on commentary we have Copernicus and, is it Shout Plenty? Shout Plenty. So yeah. Good luck everyone. Over to you guys.
Thanks.
Alright, so hey guys, as Paul just mentioned, I'm Kitcot, and this is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, for those of you who've seen my ESA Together run, you'll notice that the estimate previously was 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now it is an hour and 45 minutes, that's because of some recent developments. Oh, nice.
Yep.
And we'll get into the recent developments as the run goes on, but for now I just need to know what the file name was that won the bid war, so what was it?
Well, I just shut down the incentive, so let me find it. There it is. And there has been no changes in the lead. It's going to be Entro V Soy. It's NTROVSOY, capital N, capital V, capital S.
So NTRO and then it's capital V, I think?
Capital V, capital S, OY.
Ah.
All the space.
Sorry, OY was it? It's hard to type this.
It's fine. Capital N.
Yep, got that part.
TRO.
Yep.
Capital V.
Yep.
Capital S, OY.
Yep. OY, okay, cool.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Okay, so I believe we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And
you're ready.
so I will give a countdown and let's go. Okay, so run begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so yeah, this is Skyward Sword. So the first thing you'll notice is I'm skipping cutscenes. That is because we're in hero mode. This game, and hero mode is kind of like the new game plus. It has a lot of advantages compared to normal mode. And this round is actually impossible on normal mode. I'll get into that when it comes around, but hero mode is much faster.
Yeah, a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and talk to Fledge right here. Fledge is this guy who's trying to lift some barrels. This might seem pointless, but it does have a point to it. I'll get into that later. Okay, so... yeah. Also, with that text box, you notice that this game is being played on Japanese. That's because Japanese is the fastest text-scrolling language, by quite a lot, actually. Like, if you like put a Japanese and English text side by side, you'll see the difference. Anyway, so here's this guy, Instructor Horwell, I think he is. I can't remember their names, but...
Yeah, Hornwell. That's...
Yeah, Horwell, yeah. Yeah. So he's impressed that we're playing this on hero mode, yet he still gives us a tutorial, so we'll just have to sit through that, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is slightly dumb,
also,
but... yeah.
Actually also gonna help him out.
Yeah.
You normally don't need to do that, but it's the same reason we talked to Fledge. Just gonna use that. That's actually something we use way later into the run, but we can only do it now, so we do it now.
Yeah. So... you probably wonder, like, I failed that jump, so you're wondering, like, why am I doing this jump? It's basically just skip a cutscene. Well, skip, because this guy's basically wanting you to talk to him, and we're just like, nah. Okay, this is actually quite... It's not even that hard,
Yeah,
I'm just bad at it.
It's surprisingly technical, this.
There we go.
A little bit of movement.
Yeah.
Just precise. Line up.
Yeah, this movement's pretty technical. It's probably the most technical movement there is in the game. So,
Yeah.
there's that done. And this is where a lot of my resets have been recently. Okay, so, yeah, again, as Pepper said, we have to rescue this kitten. And again, the reasons why is similar to why we talked to Fledge, which seems pointless, but it's really not. Like, if we didn't rescue this kitten and we did the route, we wouldn't be able to finish the game. I guess we might be able to, but still.
You should also save the kitten. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
also just, yeah, it's just common sense at this point, yeah.
Be a nice boy.
Yeah. Alright. So anyway.
So it's gonna be a lot of stamina management in this game as well. So rolling is the fastest by 1 frame, at least outside by 1 frame, and sprinting is the second fastest. And he will try to like alternate between rolls and sprinting depending on how far he has to go. So rolling is faster, but it takes a lot of stamina. So if it's a longer distance, you would rather want to sprint. Yeah. And you will try to use like cutscenes and stamina fruits in order to refill your stamina.
Yeah, like a big part of this run is managing your stamina, and like whoever can do that is like kind of really good at the game. Basically, there's like more to it than just stamina management with this game. But yeah, so now we have to die. We used this thing called the killing post because you jump off it. It's pretty hard to use it, but it's not too difficult if you've done some practice.
Yeah,
so
it's
now
the own. Yeah.
So now I'm going to continue and reset. I'm resetting with the console button because on the Wii there's like a thing where you can press the reset button. And this is the glitch known as back in time. This is probably the biggest glitch in the game by a million miles. And we're going to use a lot of... Like, this glitch is just going to be like every 5 minutes during the run, so...
Yeah,
it's also really hard to explain, so we're going to try our best to explain it. We might not... You're probably going to still end up, like, into this run with, like, your head still scratching on how it works, but... just don't worry about it, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I mean, basically, what we're doing is, like, we go back to the title screen, but still continue, and the game still does the continue action and end up putting Link on the title screen, and so you gain control of Link on the title screen. And then you can, like, access your files, and you can do stuff like here, where you save a file at a statue. So it does basically what you think it does. So right now we have had file 1 selected and then saved file 1. So the next time we start file 1, we will be right there, and we have been saved there.
Yeah.
And next thing is gonna do is, because we want to enter Farron as soon as possible, obviously.
Yeah.
And we also want to have the Farron Pillar on all our files. Gonna get the Farron Pillar on this very early file, so it will be on every single file after that. So no matter when we copy or how early we do it, we will have the Farron Pillar, which is gonna be really useful.
Yeah.
I'll see later.
Yeah. Also, you've noticed me starting my file just for loading zones and nothing happening. That's because if you start your file late enough, the game won't register it as like you doing anything. And I think Half-J's figured, or Half-J's another runner, he figured out that it saves like a few frames each time you do it. So
It's not.
it's not
really
anything,
not. Yeah.
It's not. It's just, and also it's just something you can do because why not? It doesn't lose any time either. So we're gonna place the Farron Pillar. When we got the Goddess Sword, we also got the Farron Pillar. Or Farron tablet thing.
Emerald tablet.
That Emerald tablet, yeah, they have names. And so this is what this is known as is going to be an iteration of something called reverse bit magic, which is incredibly confusing. And so we'll try to explain it. But yeah,
a little bit easier to explain. He basically just starts at the moment the flag for the pillar sets. So for some reason the flag for the pillar sets like in the middle of the cutscene, but. So basically what he did right there is he started the file right before he got the flag, and then the flag actually was put onto his file. So if you were to look backwards, you would actually see the Farron Pillar now, because it's actually set on his file now.
Yeah.
We have the Farron Pillar, and we're about to get the sword.
Basically,
so we already got the sword, right?
Yeah.
But the reason we got to get it again is because this glitch has about a 1 second window in which pretty much when you start a file, pretty much everything is loaded normally, so you can't really mess anything up. But you have this second after where you're still playing the game back in time. And so while you're doing that, you can still do some actions and get the Farron Pillar in. But we couldn't get the sword in because it happened like 20 seconds earlier, so now we got the sword.
Like, in order to gain flags, well, put flags onto your file through back in time, you actually have to start the file at a specific point, which is going to be quite scary in some instances. Most just be the harp strumming RBM, which is going to happen. Also, we're abbreviating reverse damage to RBM, so just keep that in mind for when we do stuff.
Also, just a little thing about the bit save, the fact that it had. So you saw we were like on this weird layer of Skyloft after we started our file 1, and the reason was because of the bit save. If you just bit save on this weird Skyloft layer, you actually end up on the Skyloft layer. So that will allow us to enter the goddess statue, which normally is closed, because on the layer of the title screen, as you can see, like you let the title screen animation play out, the goddess statue is actually open, so we can just enter. So that way we can just not get the practice sword, and directly get a goddess sword for the Lovewing rescue.
Yeah, like the layer on Skyloft has, or layer on Back in Time, I mean, for Skyloft has like a lot of different properties, and as Pepper mentioned, one of those is the goddess statue being open.
Yeah.
Layers are, I think you'll see in all sorts of 3D Zelda games, they're and manipulations of layers, and it's basically just like every area has to be in a different state depending on where you are in the story. And so you'll get story flags that get set as you're playing the game, and each one will correspond to a different layer for a specific area. There's like a table of story flag to the layer that you get, and then that means that depending on where you are in the story, different stuff will be happening. So layers have like different characters, different objects. And so we kind of abuse this fact that resetting puts the game into the title screen layer, which makes it all like colorful and stuff, and take advantage of that to get it back. And
layers are kind of a huge layers are kind of a huge thing in Skyward Sword glitch hunting, and they kind of determine whether something is possible or not. So. That's a thing.
Yeah, and in also, so many layers just crash, so you're very restricted on what you can do.
Yeah.
Nice house entering, by the way. Just passing
house
by.
Entering, we didn't mention it at the time, but we entered and exited that house. Again, that was purposeful. I didn't just decide to look in that person's house for no reason. And again, I'll get to that later when it's appropriate, but for now.
You have to check it out, right? I mean,
just have to check it out. Just one nice house, Okay, so
very interesting.
Basically, what we have to do now is we have to basically get to the surface as fast as possible. There are 2 requirements for doing that, and there's an additional requirement if we want to beat the game, which is what we want to do. The 2 requirements is place the Emerald Tablet and get a Loftwing, which these 2 things we can do pretty much right here. The third one is I'll get to in a minute, basically. I'll get to that in a minute. But for now, we just have to worry about getting a Loftwing and Emerald Tablet.
Yeah, so we could probably at least explain the idea on how we're gonna solve, because I don't know if people have seen the recent routes, but again there was a big change, and now we are actually gonna complete the run without any B-wheel items.
Yeah, this is actually itemless, and it's quite scary at some points, but it should be fine. He says.
So the way we want to do it is basically we need to, in order to skip all of Farron, we need to use back in time in order to skip all of it, and we're gonna use Farron back in time, which is basically we'll enter the Farron pillar in back in time, so we'll go off on Skyloft and then into the pillar.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later, but for now here's our Loftwing. Also, I probably want file 3 because we basically need that file for stuff.
I mean, we want just one file that's before saving the Loftwing, so. Because after you save the Loftwing, you'll have a different sky layer that prevents us from flying to the Farron pillar. That's an invisible barrier. But file 3 doesn't have the barrier because it's even earlier before saving the Loftwing.
Okay, so now we've got the Loftwing, and we have access to the Farron pillar, or the Emerald. So you're probably wondering, why can't we just go to there now? Because there's an additional 3rd requirement in order to beat the game, and that 3rd requirement is we need to try and get a specific fire trigger so we can access the rest of the sky. Because for now, we're kind of limiting what we can do in the sky because we can't really go to. I mean, we can dive to the Farron pillar and we can dive to the Elden Pillar when it comes around, but we can't dive to the Lanayru pillar. And Lanayru is where we kind of want to be because that's where all of the stuff is needed to open the Gate of Time, which I'll get to later.
So. Again, you can see there's the Farron pillar now, but we can't reach it right now.
Yeah.
But if we could, if we could dive right now, which we can't, if we could dive, we could reach it, and that is the whole idea behind the route. Is if we could get diving on a file that has only rescued the Loftwing, we could actually just dive into the Farron pillar and enter Farron.
So coming up is when somebody cutscene skip. I'm just trying to do this. Got it, nice. That was sketch. Almost went back to the cutscene, but that was, it was interesting movement. It is very interesting, so basically how that works is that it's a 2-frame window. That should be fine, but remember this is a Wii remote, so it isn't. And yeah, if I didn't get it, I'd lose 90 seconds, but I didn't, so we're fine. So now here's one of the scary parts of the run. Here's what's known as the Sky Reverse Bit Warp. Okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit scary, but I'll let my commentators explain what it is whilst I try to do it. Basically.
So the idea here is to make a secret copy, basically. And we want to we start with hero mode on file 2, which is not normally what you need, but in this route you actually need it. So what we do right there is we actually do a sneaky copy with how opening a title screen actually loads some information. So right now we actually saved information on our hero mode file, even though it still shows the hero mode file.
Yep.
And what that allows is that we can actually still get to the name screen right here. And starting starting while you're on the name screen actually just loads the entrance normally. So this, like starting and entering an area, is called a reverse bit warp, and it puts you, like, the file after that into the new area. But normally, it takes like the coordinates you're saved at. But because we had like the name thing up, it actually just loads it normally the area.
If it took out coordinates, if we had coordinates, it wouldn't actually work. Which is why the backup strat for that takes 4 minutes, because you have to get back to that save prompt or just having no coordinates.
So
anyway,
we would just, like, if we would read the coordinates, would just void out instantly because we didn't have any Loftwing or anything. Yeah.
So now we have the fire trigger, and you're probably wondering, well, why can't we still access the Elden Pillar? Because this file doesn't actually have its Loftwing, so we're now going to get that. I mean, I'm using the Loftwing, but that was from back in time. It's the back in time Loftwing, not the Loftwing. So we have to die first, and I'll use that with these Octoroks. You can die with falling onto.
Deathwarp is just there to get back to the last save point, which was the Waterfell cave statue.
Yeah, I mean, you could dive to Skyloft. That just takes more time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that much slower, but like we want to go fast, so. Yeah.
And again, there is a faster way to die, but it's really scary because if you fail it, you have to do the backup, which again takes 4 minutes, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So one critical information that we should probably share is that in Back in Time, the only sky layer we can actually access is the Loftwing tutorial layer. Yeah. So in order to reach Farron in Back in Time, we need to have diving on a file that has saved the Loftwing. And then we can enter the sky in Back in Time with that file, and we'll just, like right here, we will do the same thing that we do right now, just in Back in Time, basically. Yeah. As you can see, we now have diving, but we also have the Loftwing tutorial layer, as you will see soon by the text. And we'll just dive into the Elden Pillar now.
Yeah, basically.
And we will do that also in Back in Time in order to reach Farron, because again, the only layer we can actually access is this layer, which has the barrier around it.
Yeah. So first things first, I'm just going to damage down to 4 hearts. It's because I need to damage down anyway, and just doing it here is way quicker than doing it on the surface. So now I'm just going to go ahead and go to the surface, and this is quite a long cutscene. So if you have any donations, you can probably read them now.
Well, we have just one donation that just now came in. You have the perfect timing there. It's cool, a $30 donation from Papa Gen 0 saying, "Hey everyone, got to donate during Skyward Sword run. Good run to you. May the Back in Times not be your demise, and may SVA and Gymnast beware. Salutations, Papa Gen 0." And I can tell you they have they have dedicated this donation to the Super Monkey Ball All Difficulties, No Extras Warpless, Master 1 Skip bonus run, and that currently is going very well. But let's talk about another incentive we have here. It's the Spyro's color choice for this very next run coming up. Currently, pink is in the lead with $40, black and green are just behind it, $30 apiece, and yellow is on $20. There's a few more options, but do get your donations in and pick your favorite color. Thank you for your donations. Back to you guys.
Absolutely. So now we enter the surface. Now we're going to have to die again. So this is probably the last of the scary RBNs.
But the problem here is
you explain.
We can't activate the stuff that normally happens into the grounds because we didn't get the tunic right now. Yeah. And we also don't have the lockdown that leads to behind the temple area. But Back in Time has the nice ability to actually use our flags on our files and apply them to different locations.
Yeah, and, it sounds weird, but it's the thing that happens.
Right there, for example, you can see the gates are now opened, and before they weren't. So what we did there was we used the information we had on one of our files and updated that, and suddenly the gate is open because we had the corresponding flag on it. Yeah. And we can do the exact same thing in Farron and use the corresponding flag to get the lockdown to actually enter behind the temple. Yeah. Basically skipping all of Zeal Grounds and also all of Farron pretty soon afterwards.
Yeah, the basic this sort of the big point of doing back in time is you have this kind of toy model of the game, and you load in information from your files which allow you to travel through it, and then when you get to where you want to be, and also at a time you want to be in the story, so it's all sort of in your files. When you get there, you can sort of do an action at the end, and so we've been just copying over story flags. We got a pillar, right? And now what we're going to do, instead of doing that, we're going to warp. So we're going to travel to Skyview Temple, and then we're going to warp inside it just by kind of seamlessly transitioning, press start to go from title screen into the gameplay.
This is going to, this one here, you probably notice I'm doing something really weird in my files. That's because the files kind of determine if the game's going to crash or not, basically. You do kind of want to be really careful with your files here. Because if you're not careful, at worst case scenario, the game can crash. And that loses quite a bit of time.
So yeah, we'll try to explain bit magic, but probably the most complicated thing about
bit magic and reverse bit magic is like you're probably not going to understand by the end of it, but we'll try.
Yeah, so the reason why we actually can have effect on different areas, so we didn't ever push the lock to back behind the temple, but we actually still can get it down, and the reason is that there are area-specific flags. So for Sky, they have all the same space, but Skyloft has like it has a different meaning on Skyloft and a different meaning on Farron and a different meaning in every area basically. And with that, we can actually like take a flag on Skyloft, like for example, talking to Fledge set a flag, and this flag luckily corresponds in sealed grounds to having the lockdown to behind the temple. So by selecting that file, the game loads the information up on it, and then it actually puts down the lock.
Yeah, so currently what I'm doing right now is I'm making a corrupt file, and you do this by saving a file and then deleting it with, you delete it and then save it with a statue, and you can see it's kind of a weird file right now, like it's got 0 values on it, and that's going to be useful in quite a minute, and also going to be useful for a bunch of other things as well. So, first things first, we're going to die to this Octorok right here. Also, press copy here, that's just for some like optimization so I can use the nunchuck here. Anyway, so, and the reason why we wanted to die is so Farron could be on the right layer, I believe. I don't know the exact
No, it's
reason,
just
but,
in order to reload.
Okay, yeah.
So, there are just some objects in the game that just, like the log, we could just select a file and it would fall down, but some actors or some objects just don't activate right away, so they need a reload, and in this case the vine to Deep Woods actually needs a reload. So we had the flag on our files, but it still didn't fall down because we first need to reload, because it's like a bigger actor or whatever you want to call it, just some sort of object that doesn't work directly.
And the reason why our vine is down is because we went into that house seemingly for no reason, basically.
That vine is because of entering the house.
Yeah.
Because
so
there's
now here I need
flag.
to be quite careful with my files, otherwise this won't work. So this is why I needed the crop file, so we could basically ping all the way to here.
So what basically happens here is we have a flag on our file that triggers this door cutscene.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the logs, just that the door cutscene actually teleports you, luckily. Yeah. And we'll just directly get the intro cutscene and can actually reverse bit warp into Skyview.
Yeah, and so I start the file just as it loads, just as it does this, and in theory we should be in Skyview, regarding everything that's good. Okay, we're in Skyview. Good.
There you go.
If I mess up the timing of that, then we would kind of be screwed, because you wouldn't have file 1 anymore. Like, for example, if I die in Skyview, we're kind of screwed.
I mean, we can save it. It's not.
Yeah, we can save, but if I die to like the spider, for example, then that's kind of problematic.
It loses a few minutes for sure, but
it might. Yeah, we'll see.
It's fine.
Reverse bit warps are quite nice in that, you know, you can just save a position on a statue anywhere and then use that to warp to a specific point. We're not just in Skyview. We skipped half of Skyview.
Yeah, like the reason why I spawned quite way in Skyview is because file 1, which was file 2, was saved at the Upper Academy statue, which on Skyview those coordinates are basically where I spawned. I just went into that room to load everything, basically. So like the spider wasn't there. We can get past him with a Skyward strike jump. And also be careful, because if you die there, again, you have to do the entire RBW all again.
the reason why we spawned at our coordinates is like what we talked about earlier, where we needed the hero mode file name selection in order to not load our coordinates. But this time we actually want to load our coordinates because they put us further into the dungeon. So we used the UA statue because it's the one statue that actually puts us in a good position, and it puts us into this into the hub room right away, and then we can just reload the room once to like load a bunch of actors that's just not loaded because we skipped so far into the dungeon with one warp.
So
and then we can just beat the dungeon.
Yeah. So this is called itemless because we get no items, including the slingshot, which we don't have right now. So that's why I had to use the Skyward strike with these vines, because we don't have the slingshot. And like,
actually, why we need, for example, hero mode. Because hero mode actually has longer Skyward strikes, and it also has the power of Master Sword Skyward strike.
Yeah. So like
as well as like taking more damage, which is also useful if you want to die.
Yeah,
and
like
skipping cutscenes.
Like you couldn't do this on normal mode. Also, I just failed vines. Vines are hard.
Yeah, vines are hard.
Go watch the tutorial, mate.
Yeah. Shouts to Exodasher for making vines tutorial. So yeah. Alright, so here I'm going to save because Girham. This is the first boss battle. Girham 1. We used to skip him, but now we don't because we don't have the correct file set up to do this. And also, it's just slower anyway with what we have right now. So
saving here is a good idea because dying is very punishing right now. Because the last time we saved is at UA statue on Skyloft. Which is quite far away.
It's quite far away. Yeah, it's it's quite bad. Yeah, this fight isn't hard, but it's really unforgiving if you have 2 hearts. So there's a chance I'll die, but it's not. Like odds are I'll get out of it alive, but just in case. So Girham 1 is probably the only source of RNG in the run, I'd say, or only big source of RNG. This first phase is quite easy, just put your sword in one direction, pick another one, and spin attack him. It's quite simple. Phase 2 is when it kind of gets a little bit more challenging. So he has 3 moves he can do. He can throw darts, charge at you, or hold up his sword. You do not want darts because that takes a while. Like this. This is what you don't want. And like you can't damage him.
Also, just as a note, we might fight this Girahim, but we'll skip a different Girahim now.
Yeah. We skipped Girahim 2, which we didn't used to do, but now we skip him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
just need 2 Girahims in your run. That's just a requirement, basically.
Yeah. Okay, almost died. That'd be more chaos. Yeah.
I mean, you're saved, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But I don't want to die anyway. So the optimal amount of... Yeah. So the optimal amount of darts you'll get is about 0, but that I've only seen that once, and that was by me on a really bad run, but still. And
vertical darts are the worst because he actually jumps back if you get rid of him.
Yeah, on average you'll get about 3 darts. So yeah, this was I lost count, so I think I was about 3 or 4. So slightly below average, but it was fine.
Yeah. So first thing done is beating Skyview.
Yeah. So what we have to do next, I just want to explain this. We have to gain access to the Lanayru region, which involves beating Skyview and Earth Temple, the first 2 dungeons. We beat Skyview in order to gain access to the Elden region, and we beat we beat Earth Temple to get access to the Lanayru region. And this Hakatan is optional for Horde.
Allows you to get.
I didn't want to pick it up, but I just did it anyway, so why not?
It's better, I think, because Horde is quite hard with only 6 hearts.
I mean, it's not that bad. I can do it on 4, but
yeah, sure. I know.
It's always nice to have like the safety, I guess.
I mean, if you want, you can just not heal. And you have 6 hearts.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So that's Skyview done. Again, we needed this in order to get to the Elden region, which you need to get to the Lanayru region. And in Lanayru is so. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but anyway, in order to finish the game, at least in the any percent run, you need to have the Gate of Time open. And the Gate of Time, you need to get two requirements to open that. First is the Goddess Harp to actually raise the thing. Second is you need specific story flags from the boss rush minigame, which we can get early, which is why we can get scene flag or get story flags off them. And both of those activities are in the Lanayru, which is why we need to actually get to the Lanayru first. So that's like what the first hour of the game is doing, basically.
So the idea now is what we're doing now is we're actually going to do back in time again, obviously.
Yeah.
This time we'll get the we want to place the Elden tablet up, of course. But we also want to get the tunic now. It's a little bit late for the tunic, but we can still get it because it always happens after you place a pillar if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. So this is a corrupt file, so we die. And we die because everything's set to every value on this file is set to 0, including his hearts. So
also the date of the file.
Yeah. This is a good way to access back in time, although if I did continue the game would crash. Because it wouldn't know where to put us. Anyway, so now we're back in time for the 10th time at this point.
Yeah, but this one is a little bit easier to understand.
This one's probably the easiest one to understand. It's a very simple reverse bit warp. So we're going to bonk this. This truth file 2. What this does, it opens the doors for some weird reason.
Yeah, it updates the information on file 2, and that has the gate on it.
Yeah.
And that will open the gate.
Yeah. Basically, and the gates will open. And yeah.
And again, as I said, we want the tunic, and the reason we want the tunic is because it actually changes the sky loading zones. So if you have only the, if you don't have the tunic, then there's only one loading zone at the very right side of Skyloft, which is really far away from Elden and a lot of other places we want to go. So
I guess quite inconvenient, I'd say, if I do it every time.
And since we want to be fast, we're gonna get the tunic.
Yeah,
but we could theoretically.
I don't think it is though. There must be another reason why we get the tunic.
No, it's mainly the reason we want to be fast, because it saves actually a lot of time, and of course it also has the good thing of not actually allowing you to get to layer 2 again of the sky.
Yeah. So even though we placed the Elden Pillar, the game's gonna act like we placed the Farum Pillar because we haven't actually placed the Farum. We haven't actually placed a thing before on this file. So it says, oh, this is your first time you placed a tablet, and we're like, no. Okay, well, here's cutscenes anyway, so yeah, now we get the tunic, as if we're about to leave the
cutscene was a little glitched.
Yeah, just a little glitched, yeah.
Everything's fine, guys. We can skip the cutscene. Another reason why we need hero mode.
Yeah, this is these are the main reasons why you can't do this route on normal mode, is because you can't actually, there are some cutscenes which just soft lock on this route, unless you skip them.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to do another back in time, iteration of back in time. And again, for those of you who are just new here, I'm activating back in time with continuing and resetting on my console with the reset button. So this is a more complicated reverse bit warp. You probably wonder why it's called reverse bit warp, as this is way more common. We'll get to that when we actually see the regular bit warp, but just know it's called reverse bit warp.
Yeah.
So this is.
So the idea is just let's go to Elden is the idea, and luckily Elden Pillar is actually in the area where the barrier is of the Loftbridge tutorial. So again, there's the barrier where you can't leave, but for some reason the Elden Pillar is still in the barrier, so we can just fly there.
Yeah. I'll be honest. It's kind of a shame that Laneri's pillar is the only pillar we can't access during the
yeah, that's actually because it's way too far away to dive to.
We could of course have just flown to Elden, but the nice thing about coming in from back in time doing the reverse bit warp is of course the position load, right? So we're going to have coordinates that we just saved our statue at, and that's going to put us somewhere interesting.
Yeah, that's positioning is pretty precise if you don't want to mess this up. It's not that bad, but it's precise anyway, so you have to kind of keep in mind what your positions are. So what I did is that I remounted my Loftbridge with file 1, and even though it doesn't look like it, the Elden Pillar should be here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select file. We're going to start file 1 as we're entering into Elden, and the theory is we should land in the caves. Again, that's the theory.
So it's the same thing with Skyview, where we basically skip a bunch of stuff in Skyview. We'll now skip a bunch of stuff in Elden with this warp.
Yeah.
And this will put us at the coordinates we saved at.
One of the draft's routes was so good, it skipped so much further into Elden, but we can't do it because somewhere we need to be able to get flags in order to do some of the later back in times. And
yeah, shoutouts to Elden Out of Bounds. It almost looks like Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
It was like you
sadly we have to do this somewhat casually.
Lava while walking out of bounds. It was jokes.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, in order to progress for right now, we need to get the digging mitts. Now, it is called item list, but it's kind of misleading. We do still get the digging mitts item, but really the definition of it is that you skip all the B-wheel items. So that means if I do anything with the B-wheel, or if I try and press B, nothing happens basically.
Yeah,
and this just shows how overpowered the Skyward Strike is in hero mode. I just beamed all those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, now he's like, oh wow, you like, I can't remember the text. I don't read Japanese. I'll give you the digging mitts, and now we have digging mitts.
We won't ever dig with them. Instead, we'll just use them in back in time to set a completely unrelated flag.
Yeah, digging mitts are actually important for later, which is weird, but whatever.
The only idea here is again just like talking to Fledge. Gave us a flag that allowed us to enter behind the temple area by just selecting a file. This digging mitts actually sets a flag that allows us to do some stuff later.
Yeah, like in theory,
in general, it's just
like if we didn't need any flags from Elden, we could just do the Elden out of bounds stuff. But we need flags here, so we have to go get them.
Yeah. So the point is, we still have like one file right now that's completely unused, which is file 3, which is like completely empty. I mean, it's nice to die on, but it's always faster to die on the file you're on instead of like going to the tile screen, start a different file, and then dying. So from now on, we'll try to only die on our files and not actually. Nice circles.
Nice, I got circles. This is circles. It is basically if you're on this country in a very specific angle and like position, you actually just roll around in circles. It's pretty precise. It doesn't save any time. It just loses 1 frame, but it's like the most useful one. It's like the least useful 1 frame ever, so it's useful.
Yeah.
And it also looks cool. So we're gonna do another iteration of Back in Time. If you thought this entire segment was just regular, it's like not. It's quite like.
It was getting.
I mean, for the most part,
regular.
Yeah. Elden is probably the most chill part of the run, I'd say. Or Elden, at least Elden climbing up it anyway.
Yeah.
Most of the game is pretty like.
We just
Back in times all the time.
Yeah. The thing is. Yeah, we just need something like some setups files, and since our file 2 needs to stay because it's our early game file which we entered Sky with, which we cannot get rid of because then we cannot enter Sky anymore, which would be very bad. We have to use file 3. And as I said, we don't really need corrupt file anymore, so what we're gonna do now is get a bunch of flags in Elden, and we'll get those flags onto file 3.
Yeah. We'll do that at the end of Earth Temple because I believe it's just more convenient.
Yeah, it's just because we do Back in Time anyways, and copying while being in Back in Time is very convenient.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to like save and quit, copy, start a file, and if you do Back in Time, you actually like can do it while playing on a tile screen. Yeah.
So basically, this RBM was we're going to strike a. I'm basically going to like push a gravestone. This is, I believe this is the first RBM that was discovered. So basically, we're going to push the gravestone. And start the file, and what that should do is it should open the Earth Temple. They might seem completely unrelated, and they kind of are, but there is something that kind of...
They just share the same space and memory. Because it's different areas, the game would never thought that you get that flag from that area and can actually put it to the other area, so...
Yeah, so whilst I just walk up this, I'm probably going to try and explain how reverse bit magic works in the best way I can. It's probably not going to be the best explanation, but yeah. So each area kind of has their like array of like different like what's it called? Like different scene flags. And this is true for temporary flags as well. So you'll see us like abuse this later on with like temporary flags. But yeah. So like for example, that might not be a good bomb throw. Oh nice. Okay, I found that bomb throw, which is kind of annoying. I'll just kill these guys because it's more convenient. Anyway, so like for example, say there's like a memory like AX01. I probably just made that up, but say that's a spot in memory, and on that spot in memory in Elden, that might be opening the Earth Temple, and on that spot in memory in Skyloft, that might be pushing that gravestone. And what we can do in Back in Time is we can set how to explain this is hard to explain, by the way. We can set the values in the Skyloft, and we can start the specific file we want to, in this case file 1, and what they'll do is that'll put the scene flag number, or put the scene flag. It'll put the specific scene flag. It's hard to explain. It'll put the specific scene flag onto the map we're on, which in this case is Elden, and that scene flag just happens to be opening the Earth Temple, and that's kind of the basis of reverse bit magic.
Yeah, it's just like the idea of areas having like, since like each area have like the same space of memory for some stuff.
It probably wasn't the best explanation ever, but there's shout outs to this guy called Gymnast86. He's probably a one of the best runners in the world right now. And he made a video about it, so you can just go look at his YouTube channel about it, I guess, if you want a better explanation about it, and visual, kind of like the visual memory stuff, or visualizing how the memory works.
Yeah, there's also like back in time tutorials out there.
Yeah, but just TLDR, you do something you do like action X in you do action X in Skyloft, and then that applies to whatever map you're on, and usually it's something useful. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like.
So we're gonna walk here in Helios Temple because that specific scene flag was set in Elden because we pushed the gravestone and started the fire. Anyway, so now we're at Earth Temple. So we do not have any items right now, which is kind of problematic for two things. One is we're kind of stuck right here because there's this drawbridge which you need to cut down with the beetle. But fear not, because we can use this keys, or not this one, the next one, the one in front of us, to do a quite precise Skyward strike, and it'll knock it down as well. And it's quite precise. I saved just in case I mess it up. So the second thing is the boss of this game. Boss of this dungeon. Yeah, I mean, he might as well be the boss of this game. He is the worst boss in existence. Skaldera. So let's see if I can get this first. I'll explain Skaldera in a minute. I'll just try and get this guy
so
to
the idea
cooperate.
here is we want the keys, and because the Skyward Strike, you can only like point it upwards if you're targeting an enemy. So in order to actually hit the thing up there, we need to target the keys, and the keys needs to be like higher, so we actually get like a high Skyward Strike, and it actually goes into the right
you
direction.
want a line from the swords to the keys to the rope that we just got.
Yeah.
There it is.
And
Just
that
like that.
and I was able to get, which was pretty cool. Yeah, he was being quite uncooperative, but nice, we got it. And that's also pretty precise, so I'm glad I got that first try.
Yeah, I also was
so-
scared because it didn't save.
No, I did save, didn't I?
Oh, it did save. Okay, I just missed it.
Yeah, either way. So now we're
Probably want to
essentially
take
gonna go
damage here.
Yeah, actually no, I
Okay.
could take damage. You're right. I should probably
Yeah,
do it now.
that's
Well, I mean I'll do that
It's
now. And
not
I'll
bad.
fight. Yeah, I'll do it now and fight the Bokoblin, or not Bokoblin, the Lizalfos, the lizard person. Actually, no, I can just.
yeah. Now you can just go to the statue. Now you have.
Yeah, actually that's fine, yeah. Anyway, so the rest of this dungeon is, I don't want to say it's like how you do casually, because here's another back in time, but after this back in time, we're going to kind of progress in a very kind of casual way, I guess.
Basically,
Well,
skip
it's
the
a
lame
straight
part.
line. I'm not sure it's the casual way because we just go like
Actually true,
skip past all of the detours to get.
Yeah, but it's like-
It's kind of
We
like
skip-
we just run up slopes basically to get to the boss.
the whole
Yeah,
time.
but I
As I
mean the
mentioned
rest is
earlier,
not
the
really
boss of this-
interesting.
True,
So as I mentioned earlier, the boss of this game, why do I keep saying game? Boss of this dungeon, I mean, is Skaldera. You need a bomb bag to defeat him, but we don't get a bomb bag because we can't, because you didn't get the slingshot, which unlocks the B-wheel item thing. But you can kill him without the bomb bag. It's just pretty challenging, and that's what I'm gonna do.
And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna raise that bridge that leads to the boss, and the boss key. And we're gonna do that by just getting a corresponding flag, and the corresponding flag just happens to be talking to Pivot in the academy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start the file at this point, finish the text, and then and then we should kind of walk towards the bridge, and it should play the cutscene.
Yeah, basically
Yeah,
now we
like
need
this.
a reload. The same thing with the Vine in Deep Woods, where we needed to die in order to reload and actually get the bridge up.
Yeah. One thing
It's the same thing here.
One thing we haven't mentioned is that like doing a specific reverse bit of magic requires a kind of another scene flag or a death to commit. And in this case,
Well,
it's
it
a
doesn't
death.
need-
In other cases, you need to like activate another scene flag on the file to commit to the previous scene flag you just got in back in time.
Yeah, normally we always commit our scene flags, but sometimes you just don't see it. Like
Yeah.
right there was just a random flag that set on load, and that flag just happens to commit it.
Yeah. Like for example, the flag for the Horde Fight opening, which I'll get to when it happens. I don't actually need to commit that because it commits itself as I walk through the Gate of Time. But that's like at the end of the run, and I'll get to that when it comes to it. So
I mean, the idea with committing is just basically for the game to actually acknowledge that you have gotten that flag onto the area. You need to make a different scene change, and then the game actually checks again, looks at all your scene flags and see, oh wait, there's a new scene flag I didn't even recognize, and then puts it into effect.
Yeah.
That's why we always need to commit, but sometimes you just don't see the commit. But in other places, other RBMs, you will see the commit quite clearly.
Okay, so now we need to get the boss key. One thing I haven't mentioned is boss key skips. They don't exist in this category, at least. I don't. They might. Do they exist in other categories or just not this one?
What did you say?
Are there boss key skips in like other dungeons that we found? Because I don't know.
It's not that much of an idea in this game, really, because we don't do that much clipping out of bounds. The only thing I can imagine is that you would warp somewhere.
Yeah.
That would skip a boss key.
Or you just open the RBM, open the boss door.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Because it's a different room, so you can't just walk.
But, I mean, in this category you do have to get all the boss keys, which is fine. So I'm going to say here because...
of the 2 dungeons we do, I mean, let's be fair.
I mean, the 2 dungeons we do are kind of bad. Like, these are, in my opinion, the worst 2 dungeons of the game, and this game has 7 dungeons.
Skyview is fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Earth
Skyview's not
is...
bad.
Yeah.
Earth Temple is bad, just this dungeon is awful.
So yeah, just for you guys, this is the last dungeon we do.
Yeah, last dungeon, yeah. Even though it's like
as
the
you
second
know
out
from a
of
casual
7 dungeons
playthrough.
casually, yeah. But like, it's kind of sad how we skip like really amazing dungeons like Ancient Cistern, Sandship, and Skykeep. Like, in my opinion, the best dungeons in probably the whole series, actually.
I mean, that's why we have different categories, right?
That is why we have all dungeons, yeah. But anyway, so here is the temple boss. So this is basically going to be Skuldera. He's this boulder that we've been chasing. Or he's been chasing, the boulder's been chasing us, rather. And again, we do not have a bomb bag. So okay, first things first, I'm going to damage it down a little bit. This is just because we want to be at 2 hearts by the end of it. So yeah. Again, we don't have a bomb bag, so we can do this bombless, but there is also a small chance of us soft locking, which is why
I will be fine.
Yeah, it's kind of why I did a save outside, and also if we die, it's much quicker. Okay, here's Girahim. He's pretty upset with us that we beat him the first time, so he's like, yeah, I'll send after you this person has Skuldera. So he gives us somewhat long speech. It's annoying.
Mate, in the previous route, like, we just skipped him. What's he upset about? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm really, like, a little bit confused with just, jumping around places.
Yeah. Okay, so here's Skuldera. Without a bomb bag. Luckily for us, there are bombs up here. So this is just unrelated, but I'm just going to do brake slides up here because I think this is one of, if not the only place in RTA where brake sliding actually saves time. I mean, in a task you do it always, but this isn't a task. So, also it's just fun to do brake sliding.
So the idea
there is a part in brake sliding that is kind of, no, it's not really mandatory, but it's a thing that you do. Anyway, but that's later. So this is quite precise. So up here, yeah, it's kind of hard to commentate this fight because it's just hard to commentate fights, I guess.
Yeah, it's just getting specific amounts of damage in at specific times. So Skuldera has 2 phases, and you. Yeah.
One big part about this is that you do need to do like a specific amount of damage to Skuldera for this to be possible. And we do
so
that.
So the idea here is, at a certain point, he starts to do that what he just did there, and at that point you actually will always fall all the way down. And if you fall all the way down, the only way to hit him is like this, where we can use this Skyward strike right there.
Alright, sadly I didn't get him for some reason. I don't really know why, but that's fine because we can. I believe we can still get him.
It still works, all good.
Luckily, the Skyward strike is possible with this, and you can like hit his eye. If it wasn't possible, this
couldn't actually
soft
do
watch, but yeah, we get it.
We actually couldn't do bomb bagless Skuldera.
Yeah, but luckily this is fine. Yeah. So this is quite a long cutscene and quite a bit of downtime. So if you have any donations, you can read them now.
Sadly, we don't have any donations, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about Alzheimerfonden, which is the Swedish national fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. Alzheimerfonden organizes projects, camps, and events for youngsters affected in different ways due to parents or other relatives diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the World Health Organization classifies dementia as one of the world's greatest health problems. Just over 47 million people are affected. It is estimated that the number of dementia diseases in the world will have tripled up to 2,050. So we are $606 away from raising $20,000 for this incredible, incredible cause. So I do encourage you all to get your donations in so we can help them out in such a great, great quest to finally solve this terrible, terrible issue. But yeah, back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So now we have finally completed the temple, and the whole reason why we completed the 2 dungeons was so we can gain access to the Lanayru region. And in the Lanayru region, we're just going to do 2 things, as I mentioned before. Firstly, we're going to get the Goddess Harp, and second of all, we're going to get access to the Boss Rush minigame so we can set specific story flags.
Yeah, so we should probably explain why this works. So, well, we basically, I mean, he explained already why we need a harp. So the harp is needed in order to raise the Gate of Time.
Yeah.
And you need to raise the Gate of Time in order to open it. Another thing you need in order to open this is you need the Imprison 2 defeated story flag. So you need to defeat Imprison 2.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you need to beat Fire Sanctuary in Ancient Cistern. So I just said we did the last dungeon, so we're definitely not gonna beat Ancient Cistern and Fire Sanctuary.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is, we're gonna actually find a way with RBM to get the boss rush to work, so we can actually access the boss rush that normally is supposed to be at the very end game point casually.
Yeah.
So and what we can do there is we can actually fight those bosses that we couldn't reach otherwise. So we, for example, can fight Imprison 2, although we don't beat Fire Sanctuary Ancient Cistern, just as an example. And we can also get some story flags from that, because the game, in order to make those fights work, need to unset some stuff. Like the fight doesn't work properly because we have made changes to the Sealed Grounds map with our story flags. So the game
happens in the same place, right?
Yeah, it happens in the exact same place as the normal fights happen. So if you had the wrong story flag, the fight would just not work, because for some reason Grusenator is not there to fight, or there's a rail, although there shouldn't be a railroad or something like that. So the game needs to get rid of those flags, but it obviously needs to give them back after the fight, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise you would just lose progress when refighting bosses, which makes no sense at all.
Yeah, so basically what I did there is I did a iteration of reverse bit magic where I basically got the Lanayru Pillar on file 1. I could have just placed it, but this is quicker. Also, we need to naturally copy file 1 to file 3 anyway, so this is a good opportunity to do it, basically. So yeah, now we go ahead and go to the Lanayru region. And one thing I do want to mention is this run is going pretty well, actually. It looks like it's going to be a 50-minute flat Lanayru entrance. Or maybe 51, yeah. And that's really good. But
I mean, this road is pretty new, so
it's pretty new, yeah. But again, there's a big but to this. We still have to encounter the gorge. The Lanayru Gorge is an area in Lanayru. Usually, you don't have to access, or casually, it's the third. It's the place you go to at kind of sort of the end of the game. But here we're going to be accessing it pretty soon, in the next 15 minutes, I guess. I don't know. Or probably earlier actually. And this is I don't want to say it's the hardest part of the run, but it's definitely most unforgiving. So it's just littered with Farron back-in times, and failing one of them loses 4 minutes.
Yeah, so in order to activate the boss rush, we have to do a lot of things. Because obviously the game tried really hard to protect us, so it took us really long to find a way to break it. There's a bunch of flags that try to protect this boss rush that it doesn't get activated early, but we found a way.
Yeah. Although that way just involves doing about 3 or 4 quite moderately scary back-in times. They're not as scary as the back-in times at the start of the game, but they're still pretty scary because you lose a lot of time. Anyway, so now this one is actually not related to the boss rush. It's actually related to getting the harp. So what we want to do is we want to select file 3, and also file 3 is actually technically selected here, at least in the back-in-time memory. The only time that it isn't selected is if I selected another file. So, for example, it's still selected. Okay, well, now it's selected because whenever you enter the file select from the splash screen, it naturally selects file 3 for some reason. For example, here it's file 3 anyway.
The idea is just file 3 is our setup file from Elden. It has all the Elden flags.
And that's why I opened the gate and not any other file. So now we
Yeah,
enter
we
with,
need that.
I believe we enter with file, I don't think it matters which one we enter with, but I'm enter with file 3 anyway.
Yeah, you need to have file 3 selected in order to open the door, because file 3 has the flag for the door to be open.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
believe
like,
that was, when did we get that flag? I don't actually
that's
know.
before circles.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's that.
That's talking to the Magma before circles.
Yeah.
That's
And this is kind of why we need all those flags from Elden, is because we had to, like, actually
This
get...
is one of the uses, yeah, and the other one's going to be during the Goron RBM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now there's this guy, Batro. He's kind of the friendly monster guy thing. So casual players would know, or Hundo runners would know, that he's kind of the main pinnacle of side quests. He like does like the Ground Crystal side quest, which is kind of the main side quest. This is not actually the reason why we need to start this quest in Back in Time, because starting the quest triggers the same bit in memory. So let me just do it. So doing that is start the quest in Back in Time. But if we start file 1, then that is actually saved to it's saved to the Nehru, and that specific flag in the Nehru is to do with the Temple of Time statue. So now I'm just gonna leave and go ahead and do that. I think.
And by the way, there you saw the commit quite clearly. So talking to the robot committed the flag.
Yeah. So
this skips the third dungeon. This thing that we're gonna do. We activated the statue. That's at the end of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Just like
so
outside the exit.
For
and
some
we'll be able
reason,
to just walk in to the back door and walk back out, and that counts as finishing the dungeon.
Yeah.
Instead
I believe this one reverse bit warp saves like 40 minutes or something ridiculous.
I mean,
magic, yeah.
It takes a lot of time. So now
a lot of time, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So now this statue up in like the top left, we haven't ever accessed, but here we have it. It's because we did that specific iteration of reverse bit magic, and you'll notice how it's behind the rocks. You shouldn't be here until you've done the third dungeon. But we're here anyway, so we're just gonna walk in.
Well, we're
walk in the
lucky
dungeon
on
and
that
walk
one.
out. Yeah. This is why the only dungeon. This is like why in all dungeons this is the only dungeon which classifies as completion if you exit the boss room door, because if it was just this cutscene, then you wouldn't really play the dungeon.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, here I tried to do another cutscene skip similar to the Wing Ceremony.
Yeah, but this
I
one
didn't
is
get it.
yeah.
But yeah.
This one is not too bad. The other one, missing the other one would have been quite bad, but missing this one is totally fine.
It's like 13 seconds, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we have the harp. That's one of the 2 requirements. So now we have to spend quite a bit of time doing all the other requirements. And that involves like about 5. How many? So 1, 2, 3. There are 4 Farron bits and 1 just bit warp. So it's quite a lot of Back in Time.
So to explain how we can make it work, the early boss rush. So what we need to do in order to like get to the right layer for the early boss rush is we need to finish the minecart escort. So unfortunately we cannot start the minecart escort on the layer we have right now, because we have like layer 0, which like the lowest layer you can have, which has like nothing basically. But what we can do is we can actually use RBM to activate the minecart, so the minecart starts moving.
Yeah, and this is kind of where temporary files come in. Like the only way how we can actually do that is by doing an iteration of reverse bit magic with a temporary file. Or temporary flag, I mean.
So we got that moving, but the problem is we can still not finish the escort, because finishing the escort needs like whip and claw shots and a bunch of items, and we don't have any of them. But what that also does, like activate the minecart, is also there's a bunch of voids in the minecart escort that like, because if you void normally you would like put back to the last position where you could normally stand.
Yeah.
But in the minecart escort it would put you way back, so the game made sure you don't lose all your progress when you void out once. So they have like positions where they respawn you once you void out, and we can abuse that and void out at the very end of the minecart escort and just spawn the minecart there, because the game is like, oh, you've gotten until here and you voided out, so we'll put you here back with the minecart, and now you can finish the escort.
Yeah. So and that's quite convenient, because from then the only thing we don't actually need anything, because we can just we can just do a reverse bit magic to like make the rock be blown up, which is one of the Farron bits I'll be doing later.
Yeah.
The first thing to actually get to the Nehru Gorge. Normally you can't get to this place until like you've like until a bunch of story stuff and it's like the end of the game. But we can actually get there quite early on with this single back in time warp or bit warp. There's a bit of like out of bounds in here, and it's pretty chill up until the gorge. So if you have any donations, you can read them now.
Well, perfect timing. I was just going to ask you for that. We have a $5 donation from Anonymous saying, "I hate it when the reader says we have no donations." So here, thank you, Anonymous, and thank you for dedicating that donation to the incentive to rename Garrett in the Golden Sun run to the one, the only, Big John. So I don't know if that's in the lead just yet, but I'll definitely update you in chat. Regardless, thank you for your donation, and back to you guys.
Yeah, so just finishing the minecart escort actually doesn't give you the healed Thunder Dragon, which you need to activate the boss rush. So first of all, there's still one rock in the way in order to end the escort, because the last part has one rock you need to blow up. But we can use, as Kitcot said earlier, we can use reverse bit magic in order to get rid of the rock. So now we can actually finish the minecart escort. But it still give us the healed Thunder Dragon. But what we can do now, since we are on the right layer, we can actually activate a fight text that normally sets after you heal the Thunder Dragon. And for some reason, that fight text that plays after you heal the Thunder Dragon actually sets the story flag for healing the Thunder Dragon.
Yep.
So what ends up happening is that fight text gives us a healed Thunder Dragon. And a healed Thunder Dragon allows us to activate the boss rush. And that allows us to fight all these bosses that give us a bunch of story flags, which we can use to skip Ancient Cistern Fire Sanctuary.
Yeah. So this is like the first RBM in like the first major RBM. So basically, what we're gonna do, first things first, we need to like kind of RBM a rock away, or just like make a rock non-existent, or blown up rather. I normally use bomb bags, but we don't have bomb bags, so we have to do this RBM, which takes a while, but it skips having to get all like the items and stuff, so it's worth it.
I normally would actually use the hook beetle, but
but we don't get that either, so
yeah. Just like a quick information right here, because this entry in Farron will actually be a little bit different from what you've seen before, and the reason is that having a harp file actually activates the Gru's cutscene it normally plays. So normally you get the harp, fly back to Farron, and like Gru's lands on the surface and like catches you and stuff.
Yeah.
And that we can activate that cutscene by entering the pillar with the right file, with our harp file, and that will put us right into behind the temple, which is a little bit faster than spawning in sealed grounds. So we directly land in the middle of behind the temple, which is very convenient.
So now we need to
Sadly, we need to reload because of the
you like reload this with file 3. It doesn't look like it, but file 3 has been selected because that's the last file I selected. Now the timing of this is quite clutch because of how all the files are laid out, but I might be able to get this in theory.
I mean, you can also just wait. You can also start in the cutscene. You don't need to start it very. But I mean,
I don't know if that worked actually.
Yeah,
Did it work?
It always works if you start in the cutscene. It's like you can also look at the rock after the next RBM and you know it.
I could look. Could I look at it now? Like if I just reload.
Probably
everything?
also now. Yeah, you could probably also look at it now.
So just safety. I'm gonna do this. I did. Okay. Yeah. One problem with
you don't even need to start your file again. You could probably just looked at the rock and it would blow up. Because it's not like it's not like the vine or anything. The rock is like
just in case. Make sure the rock is gone. It's gone. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of I saved already, so I think we should.
Yeah.
I'll save anyway. Why not? I don't know. Yeah. Also, Gorge is also quite scary because, as we said, you need to in pretty much every RBM in Gorge, you need to commit it with something, and there's only a very finite amount of ways you can commit something. And if you run out of commits, well, you're kind of stuck and you can't finish the game. So.
No, you can. You just need to reload the area and do all the RBMs again. All the temporary, at least. Temporary one.
Yeah, but if you, fail the harp some RBM or something.
So the thing is... So,
anyway, ignore me, I'm
talking about this RBM now, which is actually the one... So the one we did when you saw the rock was away. That's what's pretty easy to see. So, the next one is getting the minecart started. And getting the minecart started is actually a temporary flag because normally it should just directly unset once you leave the area in order to, not have the minecart be moving Your game doesn't need to remember that, so it will just unset. That's why it's a temporary flag. But it's the same procedure like before. We'll just start, get the flag, and then we will commit it.
Yeah. So this RBM, or iteration of reverse bit magic, requires us to go to Farron again. Virtually all these require going to the Farron, except for the bit warp, which is just Skyview.
The problem with Skyloft is just that basically every layer crashes, so we can't really access any of the flags we want to. So yeah, Farron bit is very important if we need specific flags. But everything that's on Skyloft is super nice because it's very fast RVM.
Yeah.
RVMs.
So file 2. The reason why the last one was file 3 was so we can actually so we could reload the area without having to open the open the splash screen. And that kind of because if I open the splash screen right now, there'll be a cutscene at play. A short one.
There would be some. Yeah. There's some current text because file 3 actually has a flag that says that the Gossip Stone should be summoned.
Yeah, nice.
And that activates some current text.
Yeah, so it's still file 2, we're going to reload everything with file 2. Now I can do this, now I can do it with whatever, it's fine.
Because luckily we can access layer 0 behind the temple with our early game file. And layer 0 has just no gate. Because we never got the flag that opens the gate. We never did seal grounds at all. So we need to rely on layer 0 in order to get past that gate.
Yeah.
Would be really bad if it were there on layer 0.
Now we're in Farron. I'm going to try not to enter the splash screen, because I think that'll be a cutscene if I remember correctly.
I don't think it's that. That was on the older routes. I think here it's fine.
Well, I can just do whatever. Yeah. Okay, so now here's...
do we have...
yeah.
Sorry about that. Do we have a moment for quite a big donation that's just come in? I'll keep it brief. Alright. We have a $110 donation from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you for your incredible generosity. They have dedicated this donation for the Dark Souls 3 Fight Soul of Cindergold, which is now $355 out of $500, and also puts us $491 away from $20,000. So thank you once again for being incredibly generous, and keep those donations coming. Sorry about that. Back to you guys.
Well, I mean, we didn't really do anything interesting. We just started a file, got the flag, and now we committed it. Yeah. And now the minecart is actually moving. Right now, it's moving, but it doesn't really help us because it will just be stuck at the next door.
Yeah.
But we'll again use the void outs to get the minecart to a different place.
Yeah, so first thing first, we actually get to the end of the minecart escort, which would usually be impossible. We have our friend called bit warping, and if you apply the coordinates, if you apply the file 1 coordinates to, if you apply the upper canopy coordinates on Skyloft to the linear gorge, it'll put us out of bounds, and we'll be able to reach the end.
Just move around out of bounds, because for some reason this game has put insane collision everywhere.
Yeah, it's one thing we didn't mention, but there's a lot of collision, just in
everywhere is collision.
Yeah.
Everything you can see basically is collision. It's insane. It's actually insane.
Yeah, so because you never get there normally. So start the file and save it. If you want to be more safe when you do this, you can just save and start at the same time, which also works.
Yeah. It's basically just applying the coordinates from the statue to the map you're on. And that puts us out of bounds in this huge area here.
Yeah, and again, as we mentioned, there's collision here for some reason.
Yeah.
But sadly, this collision ends kind of abruptly, and so we have to kind of do a weird jump to kind of get around that. There's kind of a few setups around it. I'm going to use a setup which works for me, basically. So basically, is running against the wall.
So the idea is voiding out, so we spawn kind of in the wall. Because the collision is so thin that Link respawns inside the wall, and then we actually get a jump off, and getting the jump off actually allows us to climb. Because as you can see, with running up the wall, you are not able to grab the ledge, but with the jump, you actually are.
Yeah, that took 2 void outs. In my setup, it takes on average about 2 void outs. If you're lucky, you'll get it in 1, but usually it's 2.
Yeah,
mate, that's the worst way I get it in 0 once.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my setup's weird. I don't know. I can't do the map setup for some reason. I don't know why. I just struggle with that anyway. So
now we get So the reason why we jumped up there is because we could get here otherwise, but we would need to move all the way around. It costs like a lot of 3 minutes or 4 minutes or so.
Like this is just
And
way
that
faster,
jump.
Yeah. So here's buffered brake sliding. You kind of saw.
And here's the
unbuffered
end of
brake
the
sliding.
escort.
Compulsory
Yeah,
brake sliding.
yeah. So you kind of saw like unbuffered brake sliding, but this is buffered brake sliding. You basically use the home menu instead of rolling, and it's much easier. So here's the minecart.
Yeah, because we activated the minecart, as I said earlier, we voided at a certain point in the escort, and the game is like, okay, yeah, you're now here, you got that save point, so I'll respawn you there.
And this is like the rock we RBM'd away. Like normally this is, you need the bomb bag, but we don't have the bomb bag, so we can just use a reverse bit magic to basically blow it up. And this is like
one thing I was quickly going to say about brake sliding, right, is so you hold sort of just past the dead zone down on the analog stick, and that's called ESS position, right, as
like
reference
right
to
now,
Ocarina of Time, and that's the thing that comes up in a lot of different 3D Zelda games as a kind of way of preserving.
For the most part, a lot of like the movement physics are kind of shared. Obviously, Skyward Sword has the sound meter, which all the other Zelda games don't. I mean, Breath of the Wild does, but we're still sprinting, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's like in Wind Waker, you hold the SS down to preserve your speed when you're doing a super swim. Here you hold the SS down to just slide a bit further along.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have this in place. I didn't look at the. Okay, fine. So this will lag, so I didn't look at the right camera angle. But we still can't access the Thunder Dragon or the boss rush minigame because he's not healed yet. So we need to heal him first.
Yeah.
And this next RBM will cover that.
Yeah. Yes.
So there are two RBMs you can do. There's the harp strumming RBM, and then there's the crystal RBM. I will be doing the harp strumming RBM because it's faster. It's harder, but it's faster, and I've been practicing it, so I think I'm okay. He says.
I mean, it's not. If you fail it, it's not bad because
you do lose 4 minutes, which is quite bad, but yeah.
I mean, like in the sense of that it doesn't block you out of anything.
Yeah, I can definitely still finish the game. I think we should be.
Yeah,
good.
For sure.
Yeah, so you probably wondering why I've been saving. Yeah, probably wondering why I've bit save file 2 a lot. File 2 has the Loft Ring, and doing this just makes the Loft Ring appear in Skyloft, or back in time. I mean.
It's just like committing these type of flag that the Loft Ring is on, and that type of flag gets updated by saving, because there's just some stuff that sets in there in the saving process.
Yeah.
And now we actually gonna abuse the cutscene even more, because this time we will directly we directly go into the cutscene and also go into the cruise text.
Yeah, and how we do this is that we first of all, I'm like selecting file 1. I'm gonna have to do it once. I just have like fear that I keep forgetting that I selected it, but just have to do it once.
Yeah, you need to select it before entering the pillar for getting
and
the.
You notice me selecting
file
file 2 or file 3. Now I have to select file 1 again, so that the cutscene starts as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
right
just.
Here, and Bruce.
And the reason why we need Cruz is because at the end of its text, there's actually a story flag that changes the Seal Temple layer, and that different Seal Temple layer allows us to raise the Gate of Time, and also get this RBM, which is harp strumming tutorial.
And in order to keep this layer, I have to be on the copy menu.
Yes.
Yeah, these days we never get the flag that sets the layer on a file. So we always have to go through the cutscene in back in time, and then you cannot reselect a file. So he's in the copy menu in order to make it easier for him not to do that.
Yeah. So now I'm here. So now the cutscene starts. There is a way to make this cutscene not start, which will be very useful later. But for now, we want this cutscene to start because this is where the tutorial is. So here's the harp strumming tutorial. I'll need entire silence here because it's purely based on audio cues. It's quite.
Nah.
Yes, the voice acting in this game is spot on. But no, yeah, so here is the harp strumming RBM. I'm hoping that I should get this first try, I hope. I mean, if I miss it, it's 4 minutes, so we'll see.
Silent here because it's a music cue.
Yeah, it's a music cue, yeah. It's quite difficult,
you're
but...
starting on the last strum.
Yeah. Should be okay, maybe. We'll see. might have waited a little bit too long on that, but we'll see. So if you did it right, there'll be a fight. Yeah, here we go. So I did it right. Thank God. So here's a fight cutscene, and this basically heals the Thunder Dragon. So if
so
we
that's
do
5
this...
seconds.
World record.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's done it faster in a marathon yet, because everyone fails hearts from so far.
Yeah. So that's that one race where it was like me and Jason, Jim, and we all failed it once.
That was so funny.
That was quite funny where we just all failed it because we all just changed leads, and that was quite funny. Anyway, so here's the boss rush minigame. So the reason why this is useful is because as Pef mentioned earlier, the game will take away and add certain scene flags, and one of those scene flags it'll story flags. Sorry, yeah. And one of those story flags it'll give us is the fact that the imprisoned 2 is beaten, and that's one of the 2 requirements for
opening the Gate of Time.
Opening the Gate of Time. Yeah.
So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna die to Imprisoned 1.
Yeah.
And in order for Imprisoned 1 to actually work, the game needs to unset beating Ancient Cistern and beating Fire Sanctuary, because they both change stuff on Sealed Grounds. So the Ancient Cistern gives you like the Grusinator and stuff, which would make the fight not work, obviously, because it's not supposed to be there in the fight. And the Fire Sanctuary gives you has some problems with Grus. So they both unset, and they both get resetted after you finish the fight. Either way.
Yeah. So we finish the fight by dying. Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously the game also has to give you back. So right now we have beaten Fire Sanctuary and Ancient Cistern, guys.
Yeah. It might not look like it, but we have beaten the next 2 dungeons.
Yeah, middle third of the game is gone, story flag wise.
Yeah.
And doing that allows us to fight Imprisoned 2, because in order for Imprisoned 2 to work, you need the Grusinator. Yeah. And Ancient Cistern, beating Ancient Cistern gives you the Grusinator, as I said earlier. So what we can do now is die to Imprisoned 2.
But dying to Imprisoned 2 will give us the flag that we've beaten Imprisoned 2, which is kind of funny because we just died, but yeah.
Another death to feet.
Yeah.
Also, shoutouts to Fi talking about trial dowsing.
Yeah. Just,
in the Imprisoned 2
we're in a
fight
fight right now. Oh, and then there's fight. Oh wait, I need to remind you, there's a trial nearby. Oh wow, thanks, I didn't realise. Yeah. Anyway, so now I'm gonna die.
The 3 story flags that this sets, the one we really don't care about is the one that triggers that annoying text.
Yeah.
And in every route, that text gets triggered by something, even all the old ones from last year.
So now by dying to Imprisoned 2, I should be able to leave, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to Skyloft, and now the Remlet is coming in again.
Yeah, this is... So we saved the cat at the beginning of the game. You're probably like, well, why did you do that? This is... the reason why is so that we can actually spawn the Gate of Time in reverse bit magic. You could do it in...
Yeah.
You could do it on the files, but that takes a while. You have to do some stuff. Yeah. But it's faster to do it on back in time.
In order to no, right now we can actually not open the Gate of Time normally. It's actually not possible. So the reason is, so we have beaten Imprisoned 2, so normally we should be able to open the Gate of Time, right? Because it was a requirement. Well, there's one little thing I didn't tell you, and that there is a scene flag, which gives you the target. If you don't have the scene flag, you cannot target the Gate of Time, and that way you cannot open the Gate of Time.
Yeah.
In order to get that scene flag, normally you need the Master Sword, and we only have the Goddess Sword right now.
Yeah.
So we cannot do that. But remember earlier we got the lockdown with just selecting a file. Couldn't we just select a file and get the target? And you're right. You can just activate back in time, go to the Gate of Time, to the closed Gate of Time.
Yep.
Open our file with the right scene flag and actually get a target.
Yep.
The important part here is though having this scene flag on our file we want to open the Gate of Time with. So if you want to open the Gate of Time with file 1, we need to have the flag on file 1.
Yeah.
So and luckily saving the Ramlet gives us the flag.
Yeah, which is nice. So basically there are 2 more RBMs I have to do. One is the Gate of Time RBM, and people who play this game would be like, well, you still have to do the Song of the Hero, right? And the next RBM actually skips the Song of the Hero, and it's pretty cool. So
maybe we do 1/3 of the Song of the Hero quest now. Technically.
Much, yeah. Well, not even really that. We just do a part of the 3rd.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get the fruit.
Don't get the fruit, but we heal the Thunder Dragon.
Yeah.
It's the only dragon we help.
Pretty much, yeah. There are like 3 dragons in this game. There's
He's the coolest dragons, I mean.
Yeah, Thunder Dragon is best by far, in my opinion. Thunder Dragon, best dragon, changed my mind. Okay, So now, first we need to go to Farron. Both of these iterations of reverse bit magic require going to Farron. Motion controls are weird. Oh, by the way, yeah, we didn't mention this, but this game is pretty much based on motion controls, and they're pretty smooth. A lot of people say they're bad, but I think they're. This just kind of proves I've been playing for like an hour and 17 minutes straight in a quite competitive manner. So it's like the only issues I've had is just that, and that wasn't even that big. But they will have issues. I just want to point that out because 2011 motion technology is not perfect. Anyway. So we're going to start file 1, select file 1 so we enter so it doesn't crash. Select file 1
So
again.
the idea here again is getting the boost cutscene, because again, in order to get to the closed gate of time, you need to raise it first. And we never raise the gate of time, but what you can actually do is you can raise it back in time.
Yep.
Which we're going to do now. So we're going to talk to Gruus to get the right Seal Temple layer.
Yep.
And then we're going to use scene flags in order to trigger the gate of time raising cutscene.
Yeah.
And triggering the cutscene raises the gate of time, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you can just go to the gate of time and open it. Like I said, you need the Imprison 2 story flag and you need the scene flag for it. And then you're good.
So this
and again,
is
we're
like
using the copy menu as well, yeah.
the special event that happens a third of the way through the game. You know, Gruus lands, we go in here.
Yeah.
And so everything is now sort of to do with the third of the game. So we're going to, with the scene flag, we're just going to run into the circle here and after the save, I guess, yeah.
So we're going to do a bit save, yeah. So we're going to do a bit save.
Ballad of the Goddess, which is...
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Now we have the Ballad of the Goddess, yeah, don't know why, but we do. So yeah, bit save so that we can actually be in this room with file 1, it's just more convenient.
Yeah, we bit save here just to get to Sealed Grounds, because obviously to beat the game you need to be in Sealed Grounds anyways. So select file 1 to get the target, charge, start, and then hit the gate of time. And now, if he turns around, you can kind of see the open gate of time, even though we never raised the gate of time.
Yeah, and
technically,
because it's a story,
like on a file.
I think because it's a story flag, RBM immediately gets committed, I think.
Story flags, RBMs get normally committed.
Scene flags and temporary flags need to do, like, other things. But here you can just do it. Yeah. So we have one final RBM to do, then we can finish the game. And this RBM is known as, okay, well, the skip itself is known as Song of the Hero skip. But Song of the Hero skip is different in different categories. And this, in any percent, the Song of the Hero skip is activating the 7x04 spot in memory, and that is the door to the Horde Fight.
Yeah, so the idea is just, for some reason, I mean, the game normally protects like everything very carefully in a bunch of story flags, but for some reason, with the door to the Horde Fight, they kind of forgot to save it with like story flags or like layers or anything.
Yeah.
So it's just protected behind one scene flag.
Yeah, like any other door you can open, except it skips a third of the game.
Yeah, this one's like quite important, yeah. So here I'm going to check statue of file 1, then bit save file 2. Checking the statue of file 1 will put the 7x02 value in memory, and that is basically required to like look at the to get 7x04 basically.
The flag we need sets in the Lake Floria door opening cutscene.
Yeah.
And this flag triggers that cutscene, the one we just got off the statue.
So we can just trigger the cutscene and like start the file and then trigger the cutscene, and that way we get the flag.
So
and that flag just opens the door.
One thing that will probably happen to a new runner is during the Skyview RBW, we needed to we needed to save at the same statue we just got 7x02 from, in order to have coordinates for the warp into Skyview, right? But that means it has 7x02. When we run through Farron, that is gonna, if you select the wrong file, it's gonna trigger that cutscene, and then it will land you in a soft lock. You can't get out of that cutscene.
Well, once it works, but if it happens twice, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Can you escape it the first time? Like,
yeah. I mean, the first time is it's just like normal opening, but the moment it's already opened, the game cannot finish the opening process, and it keeps just opening the doors. But the first time, it works fine.
Okay, so now we're going to reload everything with file 2, and it's with file 2 because I was like the last file I selected. Now I can do whatever. I do not want to select, if I select file 1, I have to do this entire thing again because it loses the 7x02 value.
Yeah, I mean, we just carry that scene flag, we have to be very careful to not lose it.
Yeah.
So we just do it with stuff with other files just to be sure.
Yeah. So how it's going to work is I'm going to start a file and then skip this cutscene right here.
Yeah, and since he's already looking towards the gates, luckily from the starting point, he can just he's right now looking towards the gate. So if he just skips a cutscene, he's gonna trigger
Yeah, like so.
the other cutscene for the Lake Floria gates. You don't see it, but if you didn't start there, the Lake Floria cutscene would start.
We'll
Okay,
see
so yeah, we're pretty close to the end.
It's open.
Yeah, we're going to be quite behind estimate, or ahead of estimate by quite a large amount, I think.
Yeah.
We might actually get sub 130, which is a really good time. My PB is a 128, and fun fact, I got that yesterday in like when I did like a practice no reset run, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so first we need to get the True Master Sword. And this cutscene just gives it to us. We don't need it necessarily, but it's worth it because
the thing is just it breaks the blocking of the goblins, so you can actually get your strikes out. And I don't think you healed, so you're gonna do it 6 hearts.
Oh yeah, 6 hearts, nice. I forgot to heal. Yeah, I could
nice
normally...
that you got.
Yeah, I can heal, but yeah, I kind of forgot. So we're doing it with 6 hearts anyway. So Horde, this is the Horde fight. This is like right at the end of the game. So we're about like 5 minutes from the end, by the way. So the Horde fight is probably one of, if not the hardest point in the run. The Horde fight.
Yes.
It is no joke. It's quite hard. There's this thing called Damageless Horde, which I'm not going to attempt because there's like no way of conveniently damaging down. That's like at least the only reason. I'm not joking. But anyway, so basically, it's kind of split into chunks. Coming up is a thing called Horde Skip, where this next like part of the Horde, 3 moblins will spawn, and we can run up its shield at a very precise angle and go. So I'll see if I get it. If I don't, I'll be quite sad.
Yeah. So the reason Horde is so hard is because they just can't really get hit. So we have like 1 free hit, and they're like aimbot archers at the end, which can hit you quite easily. So you really don't want to get hit at all until you go to these archers.
Yeah. So I got it, which is nice. Then there's these guys, which these are quite like here. You want them. You're not cooperating. You want them to be horizontal, so you can slash these guys as well. But this is really not in the optimal place right now. This is not optimal. This is the opposite of optimal right now. This is scary.
Yeah, you don't want to get into a corner with these guys.
Yeah. Okay, good. I killed them both. That was quite scary. Right. So here we are. So I'm gonna kind of intentionally take damage here because it's faster to do so. I think Exo found a way to not take damage here, but I don't know that much.
I mean, you have...
Yeah, it's quite a funny way. The thing he found, he stalls behind one of the shields, and then when the first set of arrows goes off, he just runs up and like slaps them.
Yeah. Okay, so now there's this last fight. If I die at this last fight, it's quite sad because I have to do the entire Horde again. Loses.
But by the way, a note: why this weird dark like thingy in the middle is so that's not normally there.
Yeah. It's only there because
even though
we
it's
never
fitting
technically.
It's left over from the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, like if you notice, we never like updated the or we never like
hit the spike for the first time.
Yeah, you explain it.
Normally, you like at the very start of the game, you hit like the spike for the first time and get the air vents and stuff.
Yeah.
But we just never did that.
Yeah.
And the Helios Realm area is just a copy paste of this Grounds area for the most part, and that includes that trigger. So if you don't get a story flag, you just have this weird dark aura at the middle.
It'll be quite laggy during this fight. This one right
yes.
here.
If you look at it, then it can get quite laggy.
So a lot of this fight is nice. Okay. See, a lot of this fight is a lot of the latest portion of this fight is kind of trying to ignore that lag, I guess. Also, there's this like. Also, he'll like put up these like purple things, which if you hit, as I demonstrated, unfortunately, he'll kind of turn around. It's quite difficult to do that with fast. So this is personally my least favorite part of the ending.
And then he lands in the dark aura, seeing how evil he really is.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to be doing Blindfold Demise. I'll also be showing it back in time later, as that was an incentive that was met. But I have my blindfold ready. We'll see how that goes.
And also we will end the timer on these.
On the final Blood Demise.
Yeah,
which
we'll
is about...
give you
yeah.
heads up. You can
Fine, I'll give you a heads up, but yeah, we'll see. So, this is... You Wretched Brat. Exactly, that's the translation. And yeah, so these next fights, or these next phases aren't really that difficult, just standard slashes. Oh, nice. Okay, so what he did there is he did the one we have to hit the bottom, which is quite difficult, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, now this is Blindfold Demise. During this cutscene, I'm gonna try. Actually, I'll probably do it now. Actually, this is inconvenient. Alright, so I did Blindfold Demise at both UKSG Summer 2020 and ESA together. Both times I got it first try, which is very pog.
Yeah.
And
So,
I'll
again,
try and do the
sound
same.
cues.
Can't guarantee, it's quite difficult.
There's just combos. He will watch out for the sound cues in order to dodge the attacks.
Yeah.
And he wants to do precise attacks to get him to be staggered.
Yeah. Right, good. That was
Nice first fight.
nice
time
first fight.
this
That's
happens,
quite
yeah.
scary, to be honest.
So now he gets the Enlightened Sword, which does 4 hearts of damage.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that one is the hardest one because you're not really
Yeah.
sure how far away he is and when he actually attacks.
That's unfortunate, yeah. Alright, well, I'll try that again.
But
I'll
at
try
least
again with the
now he
blindfold.
can actually survive a hit of the attack.
Yeah.
It's like the only scary part with blindfold.
Yeah, that's
like
sad,
if you get
yeah.
the staggering actually.
Yeah.
If you don't get a
Um,
staggering at the start, it can also be very hard with blindfold.
Yeah. I'll try it one more time with the blindfold. If I still die, I'll
So,
do,
yeah,
I'll
the
do,
second
I'll
phase-
do it blindfoldless.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah,
So that was
just
sad.
Fortunately, it's just a minute, so it's alright.
And just so you know, the first time he gets knocked over, like in the second phase, you actually cannot finish the fight. But the second time you can.
Okay. That's annoying as well.
Attack us.
Oh, nice. Ran out of stamina.
Nice save.
That's the first
Nice
phase. Yeah,
save.
that was quite scary. Okay, I'm at 4 hearts, I think.
Yes, you had 4 hearts, so you still get 1 shot at.
Well, I can do this, surely.
Yeah, you can.
Really? Okay. Right, well, I'll do it without a blindfold, why not? That was sad. Okay, let's do this properly now.
It's just really hard to
Yeah.
know how far you're away with the hit.
Yeah, it's... Normally
And
I'm
it's
okay.
like,
Yeah,
again,
normally-
one of the things that do like the most damage in the whole game.
Yeah. Normally I'm okay at that, but I guess today I'm just not.
You still
Whatever.
see Demise
Yeah.
and Back in Time.
Yeah, we will definitely see Demise back down to kind of make up for it, but this is... Now this is Demise when how it's meant to go, basically.
Just use a shield for head.
I shouldn't fray this, surely I've got eyes now. Okay, well, that was nice.
So the idea is to do like spins in order to get him to be staggered.
I don't get what's wrong with this, but that's just me. There we go. Okay, back on track.
And sometimes
that-
you can.
So now I have eyes, so I shouldn't fail this in theory.
Yeah, you also can survive it now. So
Yeah, I can survive it. Yeah.
it was unfortunate to get 1 hit last time.
Yeah. Like that's what I wanted to do. Sadly, I didn't get it, but it's fine. So time's coming up.
Yeah, not so. The first one you cannot get it because he stands up too quickly, but the second time you
time
can
you get it,
actually on the first
and-
frame and
Time.
Well done.
GG.
GG. That was
Nice.
almost. I think that was a really good run. It's just a shame about the demise. That didn't go well.
Yeah, it was a really good run. Yeah, you would have gotten
So,
like a
there was an
129 or
incentive.
something.
To beat Demise in Back in Time. That I shall now show off. I do need to change the files, and I'll do that with this SD card.
So, how can you access Demise and Back in Time? Well, you saw us getting to open the Gate of Time, but the problem is the open Gate of Time is not on every layer on the Sealed Temple, but only on a few. And the one we can reach right now, which is layer 4, that has it, actually crashes. So we need a new file setup that actually has like a later layer that actually doesn't crash. And then we can just go to the open gate of time, enter the Horde Fight, and just, beat the game.
Yeah, basically. So the reason why I'm doing this is so I can, because this memory on the SD card has very specific like flags on it. Or not flags, I mean save file, or files.
Yeah, so the Horde technically also crashes, so we need to have, need to have Game 3 defeated. Yeah. In order to not have the Horde.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool that we can actually access Demise and Back in Time. Sadly, it is a little bit slower, because we need to, get a different layer. So if we actually could reach Demise with Sealed Grounds layer 4, what we have in the 90% run, then we would probably actually do Demise and Back in Time. Because we need to beat the Horde before. But still, we could maybe reverse Bitwarp into Horde and skip Horde, which would also.
There's probably someone wondering why I don't just select the game and have to go through Gecko OS or something to upload it. It's because this is a Japanese copy, and I'm currently on a Power Wii, and Wii has Reason Lock, which Gecko gets around luckily.
Yeah.
So this is the file setup. So
about Gecko, avert you guys.
Yeah. So if you want to replicate this at home, these are the files you'll need. You need file 1, which is a file. It doesn't have to be file 1, but optionally you do file 1 or these. Okay. File 1's right before Demise.
Yeah.
File 2. This is now. I got this from All Dungeons. I don't know when this was. But this is, I believe this is after beating Sandship, hence why it's...
but you only need really the file that's allows you to enter Farronbit.
Yeah. Isn't this one? Or is it? Oh, it's file 2, isn't it?
It's file 3.
File 3,
it's,
yeah.
File 3 in this file, yeah.
File 3 is the early game file. I believe this is saved just after the wing, or just before the wing ceremony, I think.
I don't know, but
it's saved early on in the game.
Maybe actually gonna see. I don't know. I think these saves probably have the old way to get to Farron.
It has the Elden way. So
we're gonna see something new as well.
Basically, yeah. So now we're here. I don't run all dungeons yet, so I don't really know where this is in the game. But anyway, so first thing is die as per usual, dead. And also File 3 had this time it had the Elden Pillar in Back in Time, or it had the Farron Pillar. And if you want to know how to get that, there's videos on how you do that.
Yeah, we continue and we set the game, and the continue still pulls through, and that way we get on the title screen with Link and gain control over Link in the title screen.
So this isn't this isn't going to look that much different from any other regular Farron bit. So this is kind of the standard save with
probably
file.
Looks more complicated actually, because we're not going to use the Farron Pillar to enter Farron bit, we're going to use the Elden Pillar to enter Farron. And the reason is that there is the first time cutscene when you enter Pillar, and that first time cutscene will always put you towards the Farron region. It will teleport you just like the door cutscene in Skyview teleports you.
Yeah.
And that allows you to enter Farron even though you never opened Farron. So we'll just the normal way to don't forget it's file 3 now, not file 2 anymore. That's
that's something good to remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we're going to the Elden Pillar. And the reason why this works is because it's good to treat Back in Time as a single file in itself. And on any other file, in most cases, you'd always go to Farron first, as your first thing. And so the game prioritizes as your first visit, so it goes to Farron. And so even though this is the Elden Pillar, because it's prioritized,
it's just the first time cutscene that always starts the first time you enter a pillar. Yeah. Since you don't have that story flag on file 3, it will start being.
Yeah, one of the few wrong warps in this game.
And sadly, we can abuse the stuff like the cruise cutscene where we could in any %, because the first time cutscene just forces the whole cutscene to play out and put you here.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if we got the Farron Pillar in on file 3, we could probably be quicker, but I couldn't be
a little bit quicker, but there's just no save files for it yet, because honestly, the whole idea is a little bit new, not really used much before, because it was harder to get.
Yeah. Okay, so now basically I'm going to open this with file 1. I think I don't know if you need to press Z, but I did anyway.
So yeah, file 1, you don't need to reset, but file 1 has a layer that doesn't crash and still has the open gate of time, so we can just, enter the past.
Yeah. So everything is going to be file 1. Sadly, I did take some damage, so I am going to have to run around the spiral so I don't take damage.
You can also just heal on a chair if you want to.
Actually, true, I could just heal on a chair. Good idea. Because, yeah, there is a chair here.
Probably
so, yeah,
faster.
now we're here. Yeah, it is faster. So, yeah.
Just relaxing on the chair.
Nice. I got off the chair, nice. Yes, it's the A button gets off the chair. Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, again, it's file 1 that allows us to get... And file 1 saved right before the Demise fight at the bird statue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And don't forget to delete all your files.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, so I've only got 2 hearts. So if I take any damage, I die, and dying would be bad because then the infinite loads afterwards. So
it should put you to your last respawn point. I think it should work, but honestly, I never.
I mean,
really
when I died in practice, it just infinite loaded.
Maybe you should have saved that statue then. But
I probably whatever. Probably should have, but here we go. Anyway.
This isn't something I've ever looked into, so I have no idea what's going on.
And so now, Demise is back in time.
Yeah, and you can like delete all those files if you want.
I could, yeah. And like delete files and just warp into the place, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, be careful to not stay too long on the title screen, or otherwise the intro cutscene will start.
Yeah. That's why I might want to look at the Wii Motion Plus tutorial. Actually, nah, I already know how to use it. It's fine. Yeah, this is the thing.
God,
Look
I
at
once
the nice.
accidentally started this tutorial, and by the time I got out, I'd somehow switched the aspect ratio to 4:3.
No. Okay, well that was dumb.
See.
I died. Rip.
Don't.
Again, is there any way of I don't get info load, or is it just stuck now?
Let's see. Let's continue and see what happens.
It's new for all of us. Let's see what happens.
Normally, I would assume.
It looks like it's infinitely loading.
Okay, yeah, then you need to actually, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Guess it
That's sad.
doesn't set. So you want to save then?
I wasn't able to beat Demise because of my own idiocy, but that was Demise and Back in Time. So yeah, that was Skyward Sword. I hope you all enjoyed. With quite a good run, actually. Just Demise was quite sad at the end.
Yes. Yeah. So with the Demise bit, you can do a lot of funny things. So you can, for example, reverse speed warp into the credits.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the credits have some really weird